All right. So, all right. Hi. Welcome to episode 2 of Life. And I think that's the name I'm going to give it. If you think it sucks, let me know. But I'm just going to put on a graphic with pawns. But I think just calling it Life is pretty cool. It's probably taken. There's probably 10 shows, whatever, called that way. So I might have to rename it. But as of this moment, it's Life. And this episode, I want to dedicate to our wonderful friend, depression. Okay, so depression, you may not have it. You may officially know you have it. You may have it without knowing that you have it. But essentially, it's obviously a state of feeling down for no good reason. And well, there are obviously always reasons, but well, the reason we'll talk about different time. The whole topic of depression, is huge. You can talk about it obviously over many episodes, and we will. But yeah, I wanted to focus on sort of what the short things to do now, today, immediately, what you can do to help you with that, and then we'll go into more and more in depth as time goes on, as I honestly research more too. And but I want to do today share my experiences that I know today of what helps, what does not help, and while I understand, the first thing I want to imprint is this: anything I say or any one of my guests says, or that you research, or you see people say, please know it's okay that you may not do those recommendations. You may do one of them, you may do a lot of them, you may do none of them. Um, the thing that will really bring you down more is feeling shame over the fact that you haven't, that you're not doing something you're maybe supposed to do, or that could have helped you. And shame is one of depression's main tools, okay, to keep you in that state. Um, and for now, I'll explain more later, but for now, let's just assume, or sort of, suspend your disbelief and be with me in the understanding, like agree with me here, that depression wants is a force in and of itself that wants to keep you there. Okay, it has sort of selfish interest to have you stay in it, and so it has a few tricks up its sleeve that it uses to keep you there. And and it may seem weird to call depression an actor, but your brain has isn't just one piece machinery. It has different parts, and some parts of your brain act on their own, without you, as in the consciousness that is observing them, that is observing yourself, interfering, sort of that having control over it immediately. So you actually do have different actors in your brain working at the same time. You know about some of them, like amygdala, is a commonly used, commonly known sort of term or piece or part of the brain people know about. And, there are some others, but it goes deeper than that. There is just within your let's just call it for now. I just want to simplify everything. Within other parts of brain, you have other things going on, and even within the same part of brain that you would normally consider like as one part of brain. Because I don't want to go, I'm not a scientist, and I don't know a lot of this stuff biologically, but if you go too deep into the science, people get lost, and I think for good reason, because it doesn't really matter. What matters is that there are actors, okay, happening, and there's things happening, and then there's you, the you that you feel is you, that kind of oversees everything and can notice things going on. But before you notice it going on, those actors pull you in different directions and often make you feel like that what they're doing is actually you, but it isn't. Okay, so anyway, so let's have this actor of depression right now, and they have their own motivations. This actor, or let's call him a he, just so I have some pronoun to use, and this Mr. Evil, not really evil, but Mr. Depression, wants to keep you in that state. And so one of the tools he uses is shame. Okay, um, and so don't feel bad if you hear something that I say and then you don't, you think, wow, I should really do this, or I remember doing this and it really helped me, and then tomorrow you don't do it. Don't feel shame. It's okay. It's normal. You're depressed after all. There are other effects of depression on your body and on your motivation and brain and behavior. So allow yourself to be okay with that. And just remind yourself to do it again. Maybe write down a reminder, set a reminder, ask your friend to keep you accountable, whatever works for you. Do all of the above. Honestly, not a bad idea. And email yourself, email your friend, tell them to call you, whatever. We'll talk about those too. The point is, you it's very important throughout all of our topics and discussions to not be hard on yourself, because that leads you away from self-love. And as cheesy and stupid and whatever, I don't know how it sounds to you. I know some people are really those terms, and I'm not gonna like go into all like hippie and say self-love, but the basic principle though is true, is that if you do not respect yourself, if you do not have a acceptance of yourself, it just makes things harder for you. It makes things harder for you to change. Now, so that's where I'm coming from. I don't want you to go in a happy sort of place where everybody loves themselves, and but I also don't want you to be in a place where you hate yourself, or you continually blame yourself and you're shaming yourself, etc. Not because of sort of I believe in that on again the whatever the hippie side of it. I don't even know what that means, but because it doesn't work. Okay, and blaming yourself makes things worse. So from purely rational perspective, just notice that when it happens, and then forgive yourself immediately and say, okay, that's fine. That's what I'm going through right now in life, and that's how my brain reacts. That's how the actors in my head are acting currently. Doesn't mean that's actually you. Doesn't mean they will stay there forever. Doesn't mean they will always have a major voice. And also doesn't mean you're alone. And believe me, a lot of us deal with this. So hope that helps. I really need to start. So one of the reasons I started this show is to teach myself not to say when I talk in public. And I hope this works. It's so hard. Keep me accountable. Keep me accountable. All right. I also tend to speak very fast when I'm nervous, but also because I actually generally speak fast. My family speaks very fast. FYI, a lot of people when we moved to America noticed that and told us just how fast we speak. I think culturally in general, Ukrainians speak quite fast. It's part of the language, but maybe my family specifically is kind of faster than many. I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, that's right. I don't say I'm gonna cut that part. So, all right. So here are some, I think. Here's the most important tip when it comes to depression. The best, obviously, you want to use the best antidepressant, right? And I don't mean drugs. If you're on drugs and they're working for you, cool. But when I mean, obviously, the best antidepressant is a natural antidepressant, and we all have it in our bodies, and it's just way manufactured, and it's being manufactured, and it gets manufactured when you work out. So the number one thing you want to do when you're depressed is to go and work out. And I don't necessarily mean, going for strength. I mean running, biking, any sort of aerobic exercise where you're expending energy. So if you want to stay toned instead of getting fit and strong, that's fine. Just run or just get on a bike. Even doing yoga is very good. Touch on that later. So working out is extremely important. There is simply not a better antidepressant in existence. None of the drugs are better antidepressants than working out. That's been, there are tons of studies on this. Tons of people who have gone through stuff will tell you how it works. Even, I don't know if you listen to, say, Joe Rogan podcast, Joe mentions it quite a bit as one of his reasons why he works out all the time. Makes him a much calmer person. So even if you don't have depression, it just has so many bonus effects, calming you down, making you a better thinker, increasing your memory, increasing energy, which counterintuitive, you're spending energy, but actually you're increasing your energy, both how much energy you can hold in a day, how much energy you feel throughout the day. It improves your sleep cycles. There are so many effects. Improves your health, cardiovascular affairs, and all kinds of other. Basically, if you don't work out as a human being, you are inviting a ton of problems into your life. And because we have become a sedated species, or we are leading sedative, whatever lifestyle, we have to supplement it with actually going to the gym, working out, running on a street, whatever works for you. Listen, do yoga at home. A lot of things, and I'll keep hammering this whole episode about this. So we'll talk about the benefits. We'll talk about how to do it. We'll talk about how to deal with you obviously not wanting to do it every day, and then of course skipping days and so forth, just like I do, just like we all do. Talk about you not feeling shame. We already did that, but let's talk about first why it's so. So what happens in an alternative universe where you did not work out? And first of all, what happens if you're going through depression is that even if your depression has different source or different trigger, people who don't regularly work out are much more susceptible to depression. Their depressions will last longer. They will have harder time being just going through the day, coping with stuff while they're depressed, and they won't come out as fast. On top of that, you're dealing with health issues potentially, if not now, then later. You're dealing with less productivity during the day, less energy. You're dealing with less memory or worse memory. You're going to be dealing with being maybe more irritable person, less calm person, less balanced based in general, less fun to be around. So you want, like, there's so many, if that's not enough reasons for you to work out, then what could be? I don't know. You get more stamina, whether you're woman or man. That's actually, I just made it up, but you really want to work out, and so we all kind of know that. Maybe you didn't know how much it really influenced, but let me tell you, it's for me now, and I'm still in depression right now. As I worked out this morning, and I'm on ADHD meds, so if I don't seem like I'm in depression, it's that's why. And I'm drinking this high caffeine tea. But believe me, I'm still going through it. But every day that I go and actually work out, it like cuts my depression. I don't know. It's impossible to measure, but I'd say at least in half. Those are the days and the only days that I actually want to do something. And actually, here I am sitting doing this right now, right? Which all the other days that I've had this same idea and thought that I want to do this, I was not doing it. And most of the days I wasn't working out. So this morning I made sure to do it, and I am feeling awesome sitting here right now. I just had to remember to go and do it again tomorrow, right? To work out again. So be sure, if you are in that state, if you're like me, going through depression, to work out as often as you can. Do different muscle groups, so different days. Listen, if you're poor, run on the street, run in neighborhood, at whatever safe hour of the day that you can find. You can also work out at home. Just Google workouts at home. There are many, it's called calisthenics, if you want to use your body weight exercises, if you don't want to buy equipment, anything from push-ups to using your bed as support, using your chair as support, to using just being on a yoga mat. Yoga is wonderful. I highly recommend. Look up yoga for. Actually, I'll put a link. The lady that I watch, I think she's great, Adriana, and seems like very authentic. Not there to sell you anything, and and I've been doing her body yoga for weight loss before Burning Man, and that helped a lot. Actually, just my energy levels, but also, believe it or not, I know my weight loss curve, and it rapidly accelerated when I started doing that yoga. I have no idea how it works, but it did. And in general, it made me feel better. So if you can't afford a gym, just do yoga at home. You need literally nothing. You just need a mat. You don't need a mat, honestly. I've done often without a mat. But you can buy a mat for, I think, $10, $12 on Amazon. Get a used one on Craigslist if you need to. I mean, they're just, they're the kind of material that doesn't really absorb stuff. So getting a clean one. Get to working out. Okay? You have to. It will be a tremendous help. If there's only one thing you're going to do when you're depressed to help yourself, it is just that. Try minimum 4 times a week, 3 to 4, minimum 3, I guess, but ideally 5 times a week. Not all of them have to be long, so you can do, say, one day an hour, and another day is just 30 minutes or 20 minutes running. And if you just run 20 minutes a day, my gosh, the difference it's going to make in your life is unbelievable. 20 minutes of run, that's it. But actually running 20 minutes, not just walking, right? If you cannot run because of medical condition, whatever, try walking. If you can walking because, I don't know, maybe you're in a chair. Do things with your arms. If you can, most of us obviously can. So if you can work out, do it in any way you can. If you cannot, then just ask your caretaker to see what is it that you can do that's similar. That's one thing. So the second thing. Well, I said this whole episode is going to be working out. Honestly, I lied. So besides working out, I highly recommend vitamins. Even if it's just a single, like, gummy vitamin that has all the essentials. Because the thing is, if you're depressed, it's very likely you're not eating well. Because a lot of people who are depressed, they have trouble motivating themselves to cook. They often overeat sugar. I'm really guilty of that, right? And so forth. So you're not getting your vitamins. You're probably definitely not eating salads when you are even eating food you cook. You're probably just, maybe heating up frozen food or making something that's quick and easy. So often people don't eat really well. Most people don't eat really well in general in America, honestly, but especially when you're depressed. So just get one vitamin at least, your daily. Right, and pop it every day. If you don't like swallowing vitamin, get a gummy because it tastes great. It's just sugary little things, but at least they have vitamins as well. I don't know if somebody's going to argue if those are good or bad for you. I'm not an expert on them, but I do know when I'm taking them, I feel better. And the gummy low sugar ones, there's not really a lot of sugar in there, and you can just better off cutting sugar somewhere else. But at least if you're going to eat any sugar, you're going to take vitamins as part of that. Now, there's a lot of science studies on vitamins. We can go over that. Maybe I can invite somebody on a show who knows more about it and explain. But that's what I do. I do daily vitamins. I also do, you don't have to again, but I recommend is fish oil, right? So omega-3s. So I take separate vitamin for that because the volume, the capsule has to be a certain size for you to get enough of your omega-3. And as far as I know. So that is a good addition because, again, if you're not eating your food, all the food you need to eat, you're probably also not taking your omega-3s that you need. So that's another one. Other than that, I recommend Emergen-C or Airborne. So kind of vitamin C, basically. You can get a generic vitamin C packets. And those I would, like every few days, I would get a packet of that. So that's like 1,000% or something of your daily dose. Vitamin C, and I think that will just why? Because it helps energy and it helps boost your immune system a little bit, and so it prevents it from getting sick. And when you're depressed and you're in a bad mood like that, you're more prone to being sick. So that just kind of, again, gives you an energy boost and protects you to make sure you don't get sick on top of being depressed. Just go to the supermarket, get the vitamins, get the vitamin C packets, and get omega-3. Totally optional, but if you want, also take B12 supplement. So it's a little like bottle of B12 vitamins. They're a little tiny little thing you put under your tongue to just dissolve, and that's just more for energy than anything else, but optional. But if you want, take it. That's my baseline sort of recommendation. Of course, when it comes to vitamins and the whole thing, we can go on forever and talk about it. But I think, again, at the very least, just take your daily vitamin, right? The one that has like 300% of every vitamin or whatever, daily dose. I mean, it varies. They have the ones for women, for men. I don't think it makes a lot of difference, but buy the one for men, I guess, if you're a man, and women if you're a woman, biologically. And but take that, and if nothing else, take the gummy one. Okay, so that's vitamins. If you're working out and you're taking vitamins, you're gonna be feeling significantly better every day. And of course, you're gonna run an issue of saying, well, yeah, but working out takes time. So And for people depressed, it always takes more time. And let me explain you why, and see if you relate to that, and tell you what I do and then the trick on that. So everything you do when you're depressed takes longer. Getting up, getting to work, if you're working, eating, showering, you kind of like, you're constantly distracted. If you're depressed and you have ADHD, that's like really bad, which is my situation. Has been this year. So you're always scrolling, you're watching shows, you're finding like your calendar is so broke. If that applies to you, then I highly recommend working out at a time after which you have nothing else to do. Sorry, not after which you have no choice but to do what's coming next. So if you have a job, then work out before you go to work, right? So wake up earlier, set up 5 alarms, all within 5 minutes of each other, and like wake up and do the working out. And then because you have job coming up and you cannot be late, you're not going to dilly dally. You're not going to be taking a lot of time. So you're going to jump in the shower, do your thing, and get out. Okay. Even if your workout is 15 minutes, I'm telling you, just do it. If it's 10 minutes, do it, and then expand, to at least 30 minutes every day. Well, 5 days a week. So that's a great way to force yourself into your workout not turning into 2 or 3 or 4 hour endeavor, right? Which can happen if you're like on the couch and then decide to work out, and then you go to the gym. If you're subscribed, it takes the time to get there. Then you change and you work out. And you slowly, you're on your phone a bit, blah blah. And then you come home and then you shower, and then you eat, and before you know it, like 3 hours gone by. So that's the trick. Put it in place of your schedule where you have no other choice but to do it fast, but also in a place where you have enough time. I don't actually. That's it. Yeah, that's the one trick to do that. So for most of it's going to be in the morning. Another thing about being depressed, a sleep schedule, and if you have to do workouts in the morning, it helps you fix that. Working in general helps you fix your sleep patterns, but working on the morning helps you make sure you have to wake up in the morning, so that eventually forces you to go to bed earlier, especially if you go through these few first days where you have to wake up and work out even when you're tired. So you work out less, but you still do it. And then that evening you're so tired, you just go to bed earlier. You have no choice. Your body will just tell you to. If you can't go to bed, buy a melatonin. Perhaps you can look up online what dosage works for you. Usually, 3 to 5 milligrams, but buy melatonin and see if that helps you. Some people get a little groggy, so there's now melatonin spliced with L-athenin. I think that's maybe the one to do. It slows down the absorption. There are some other things you find. I'll research this and I'll talk in the future episode different types of melatonins. But generally, that's the thing you take if you want to have a little bit better sleep. There are some pills also that basically rely on melatonin and have some other, like REM Fresh, I think, is one I know. So I may look into that. If you don't have really a hard time sleeping, then just don't do anything to force yourself to sleep. Just be a natural cycle. Just start waking up earlier. Cool. Now, we talked about working out and why it's important. We talked about drugs. I wish we talked about vitamins. And we talk about how to work out without taking too long, sort of cheat your depression. What else? Oh, there's one more thing that was on my mind that I wanted to mention when it comes to working out and or generally keeping sort of moving and not letting your depression take over. Man, I forgot. So maybe I'll mention next episode. I want to make this shorter than the first one. I have no idea what length these are going to be. I think when we'll have guests, they'll be a lot longer. Again, let me know what loops you're going through, questions you have. Honestly, there's so much to talk about. The issue, the place that many people are in, I think around the world, is one that has a lot of reasons for why they're there, and so it's so many things that we have to talk about to explain what gets us to these places, how we work when we're in these places, and what can we do, and so forth. But for this sort of second episode, not intro episode, I just want to do a little cheat sheet for you, and I know it sounds basic, I know it's something all you know, but believe me, you want to work out. Actually, fucking, I'm gonna delete this. All right, I think that's all I want to talk about as far as working out. We'll have, I'm sure, touched on this topic more, and hopefully we'll talk to some guests on the show who can speak to their experience of before and after kind of thing. But generally, it's the best thing you can do for yourself. Please start doing it today, if you can. I don't know when you're watching this. If not, tomorrow. By the way, for most people, do not work out right before going to bed because it just gives you energy, and then you go to bed later, which screws with your sleep cycles. Um, but you know better your best body. Oh, sorry, you know your body best, and you can experiment. But those are my recommendations. Cool. So thank you for another watching this. If you did watch the whole thing, I know these are terrible. I know I have so much to work on, and you know, but I'm just doing this for contrast, so that when I look at this on our episode 100 or something, I can say that wow, I improved so much, and here's proof. Just look at my first or second episodes; they were like literally the worst. And yeah, these are the conversations I'm having in my head, that I'm doing terrible and I'm worthless and nobody's gonna listen to this.